just one single track. Yes, hello. Okay, you want to make your camera appearance now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Analyst Breakdown. I'm your host, the Analyst, and today I will be reviewing Drake's Iceman LP. Now, this was one of 3 drops that Drake decided to do on May the 15th. We're going to start off with Iceman. Now, I just want to say a disclaimer real quick that this is going to be a beat and production review. So this is a beat and production breakdown, what my opinions are on the track selection and the aspects of each track. I will be doing a lyricism video, a lyricism breakdown and review video tomorrow. Or if you're already watching this in the future, then it's already on my channel, which you can go and check out. But like and subscribe for more if you want to see me review more albums and give my own reviews. So, let's start off with track 1, which is Make Them Cry. Now, this track, I have to say, I love the beat, I love the deep bass production. In my opinion, those deep bass aspects, they make you really feel the beat, especially if you're playing this either using your headphones, you can feel it. If you are in a car, you can literally feel it rumble your seats. I love that deep bass. I do have to say, the melodic synths, I think they were an incredible touch on the album. And this track, especially for an intro track, I do love a good melodic soul sampled synth heavy track, and I do think this was a great intro. It almost reminds me of the style that Drake used for Virginia Beach, except this one I think is a little bit better. I'm not sure whether that's just because this album just came out, but in my opinion, I do really like it. And then that beat switch is incredible, I have to say. It is an absolutely amazing beat switch. Unexpected, to be honest, in an intro track, to have a sudden beat switch. I expected it to be like, Virginia Beach, where it's just one single track. Yes, hello. Okay, you want to make your camera appearance now. I do have to say that this intro track, I expected it to be like Virginia Beach, where it's just one melody, but instead Drake decided to switch it up, which I actually liked. So I liked that boom bap production that they did, which was a contrast to the melodic synths. I really enjoyed that. And then the third beat, I didn't expect the intro song to have 3 beats. That was incredible. I think it was really nice. That reminded me of Hours in Silence because of just that slowed, spaced out production. I do think that this was a really good beat and outro beat, if I have to say. I did like the piano and the reverbs on this track. Then we're gonna move on to track 2, Dust. Now, this, again, melodic deep beats. I love it. I love that. I love that melodic deep beat at the beginning. And then the second beat is a complete contrast. It catches you off guard because that is more like a rager beat from Drake. Now, we've seen him move into more rager beats in For All the Dogs. I think he did 3 or 4 different tracks that were all rager beats. But this one was also really nice. I really like it personally. And then this track, it just catches you off guard for a third time with another beat change to the outro to the track. I have to say that these 2 songs, very unpredictable. And when I was listening to it, I was like, I like what I'm seeing. I like what I'm hearing with these beat changes. I do like a good beat change as long as it is done right. And these were done right. Then we have track 3, which is Whisper My Name. I did like the higher pitch synth reverb beat. It reminds me of a track coming from Drake's Views album. That's just the vibe it gives me. And then the second beat, that was an interesting beat. For me, it didn't really feel like one single genre. It felt like a whole blend of just trap, rage, and boom bap. That's what I thought about it. I do think that second beat was more of a blend of different genres, which was done really well, in my opinion. Then we have track 4, which is Janus STFU. Now, I like that slower beats per minute. It was a very big contrast to the trap rage boom bap blend beat that we just recently heard in the previous track. I did like it, and it reminded me of a Don Toliver melody. Basically reminded me of a Don Toliver octane meeting a trap beat, almost like a future beat. And to be honest, it's new, it's something different. I enjoyed that. To track 5, which is Ran to Atlanta. Now this song is being used a lot in Apple Music's playlists. I've seen it. Now they've been promoting it a lot. So what can I say about this? This song's production, it reminds me of Benny X or BNYX. For those of you that don't know, that's how you say it, Benny X. If you don't know, he's a producer of Yeat's music. So this does sound like a Yeat beat. I did think maybe Yeat would be a surprise feature on here, but of course they listed all the features, so Yeat wasn't on it, and I didn't expect him to be there, to be honest, when I saw the overall track. And then it was nice to see Drake and Future together, and I think that this was a pretty solid song compared to previous songs like Way Too Sexy from CLB. I do think that this was a much better song in my opinion. It was a good trap beat, the second beat. I liked that trap beat, and that fit Future perfectly. I thought he was gonna hop on that Rager Yeat type beat, and then when they switched it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. It's better that Future rapped on this beat rather than the Yeat Rager type beat. I think the second beat that Future rapped on, it fit him perfectly, so I enjoyed that he rapped on that beat rather than the first beat. Then we're gonna move on to track 6, which is Shebang. Now I really enjoyed the sample flip from this, and then also the samples with the trap beat. It's something different, you know. You normally hear samples on like soul rap or jazz rap, but to hear it with the trap beat like this, it was really cool. And it was also a catchy beat, to be honest. I gave me a bit of a catchy vibe. I was bopping my head to it. And then I would have loved to hear an offsetting Quavo verse, because I did hear them, you know, doing the ad-libs on this track. And I do have to say, I would have much preferred to hear like a verse from them. I think they could have brought something to this track. But overall, apart from that, it was a solid track. It's not the best track in my opinion, because I do feel like it would have been a lot better with Offset and Quavo coming to the table with their verses. That's just my opinion. Now the track 7, Make Them Pay. Now I think this was like a halfway through the album mark, because there's 3 main songs that says Make Them. We had the intro song, which is Make Them Cry. We have track 7, which is Make Them Pay, and then we also have another Make Them track, which is called Make Them Know. So, in my opinion, I think this is like maybe the middle part of the album, and it's interesting. I love a good soul sample jazz beat. I always do. For me, when it's done right, I just love it, and I think Overcast did a great job with producing this beat. It gives me a melodic freestyle vibe when I like listen to it, and it actually sounds like a For All the Dogs Scary Hours edition track, you know, from there. I mean, we had Wickman and all those on For All the Dogs Scary Hours, and this reminds me of that type of beat. If you listen to those tracks, like the last tracks from the Scary Hours edition, you'll actually hear the similarities of it, which I love. I loved that album, and I think that bringing this into Iceman, I also enjoyed it. Then we have track 8, Burning Bridges. The beginning was very interesting. You know, I was sitting there and trying to think, what are my thoughts on this track? And I was like, it's an interesting start, you know, there's a very minimal piano, but it does not prepare you for that melodic trap beat that just suddenly comes in and cuts through. I love that double voice Drake, in my opinion, the double voice Drake effect. I really did like it. I thought it was a nice touch to add to that melodic type of beat, and it almost sounds like a bit of a psychedelic track, which is a nice touch. I do like psychedelic music, so hearing this was really good. I think Boy Wonder does a great job when it comes to these melodic beats. He always hits the nail on the spot. Then we have track 9, National Treasures. Now this was a highly anticipated Drake song for this album. A lot of people were really looking forward to this. And I have to say, I really like the beat. Now, I never heard this song on the Iceman live streams. To be honest, I never really watched the Iceman live streams because I didn't want to spoil the experience of the album by saying, oh, I heard the snippet of this song already. I wanted to be surprised. So hearing National Treasures for the first time, it was really nice. I liked the beat. I thought it was a solid Rager trap beat. And for me, that trap beat really makes you feel the music. Again, I like that they did that, wanting you to feel the music. And these Drake vocals of this track make or remind me of Take Care. I don't know if it's just me, but the way his voice is, the way it's pitched, it kind of reminds me of that younger Drake. I don't know whether this was intentional or not, but just that's my interpretation of it. Then track 10, Bees on the Table. Now I was waiting this entire listen all the way until track 10. I was waiting for that 21 Savage feature. I knew it was going to be there. I mean, it was nice to see the Her Lost duo reunite for this track. I mean, they've been constantly collaborating for tracks. Drake was just on 21 Savage's What Happened to the Streets album, so it was only obvious that 21 Savage is going to do a feature for Drake's album. So it was nice to hear that, and I did like the trumpets. I thought that was a really cool touch, and I think it added a lot to the track's vibe. I really like that. I do think it makes the track feel victorious almost, and that's basically what the track is, Bees on the Table. Then track 11, we all know this song. It is What Did I Miss? I mean, what do I have to say about this song? It's a great synth-heavy trap beat for the first half of the song. But my favorite part, I have to say, is that melodic trap beat of the second half. I just like it a lot more. I mean, the first half is incredible, and that just shows you the quality of this song. In my opinion, it has grown onto me even more. When I first heard it, loved it, but it has significantly grown onto me, and that melodic second half is incredible. I don't know exactly who the sample is for that track. I mean, last time I checked, it wasn't really referenced. A lot of people speculated it to be The Weeknd. I think it could also be Tory Lanez. Now, I wouldn't expect The Weeknd because Drake is, of course, beefing with The Weeknd. But Tory Lanez would make a little bit more sense. And it also does sound like Tory Lanez, in my opinion. Then, track 12, Plot Twist. Another heavily anticipated track on this album. It was a great beat, in my opinion. I like the long bass that was on this track. I do think that it shows that hip-hop bass can be used to make a melody, and it's been done so many times, and it was done well in this case. I really enjoyed it. Then we have track 13, Too Hard for the Radio. Now, going into this album, of course, I expected Drake to venture into different genres and a little bit away from the hip-hop genre in these tracks, because I do know Drake can do that. We saw it before. I mean, with For All the Dogs, Gently was featuring Bad Bunny, and Drake decided to do a Latino pop beat, and he also changed up his flow and his style a bit. So Drake has done that before. I expected him to do it again, and he did it. But this was a more surprising time because a lot of these songs were just hip-hop and trap focused rather than other genres. So this was more of a it's a catchy pop beat, but you can tell it has hip-hop influence in it. I did like the violins. I did think they added to the catchy vibes of the track, so it was a pretty good track actually. Then track 14, Make Them Remember. Now this is again slow BPM soul flip beat. The track is, in my opinion, is very chill compared to the other tracks. I think this is probably the most chill track. It's 5 minutes long, just like the intro to the album, Make Them Cry. It was I was surprised to hear that Dr. Dre produced the track, because I was listening to this track and I was like, okay, maybe Boy Wonder produced it, or maybe Noah. And then I saw, and it was Dr. Dre, and I was like, hold on, wait, what? But then when I listened to it a bit more, I was like, okay, I can't hear the West Coast influence in this beat. So then the more I listened to it, the more it made sense to me that it was Drake. Then we had track 15, Little Birdie. I love this song. I really love this song. It is really deep and melodic. It has really deep melodic synths, and it's a classic Drake in my feelings beat with those drums. I also love the reverb on Drake's vocals and the distance on that sample. I think it really adds to the track and makes it a lot more better and more enjoyable. And I think 40 did a great job on this beat. Then track 16, Don't Worry. This song's beat reminded me of a Kid Cudi type beat, psychedelic, spaced synths, a catchy bass, muffled sample. I did think it could have been maybe a producer that worked with Kid Cudi in the past. Not really, but it does give off Kid Cudi vibes or SoundCloud rapper vibes. It was a great beat in my opinion though. Then we have track 17, Firm Friends. My mouth dropped when I heard Conductor. I love Conductor. He makes incredible beats. He makes incredible soul sampled jazz beats. I love Conductor's production, and as soon as I heard it, I knew it was going to be a great song, and it was. Whenever Drake collabs with Conductor, I think that they make some pretty good tracks. I mean, Drake collabed with Conductor on For All the Dogs Scary Hours edition, and they made an incredible song. And I do think that this was the same case for this album. I really liked that Conductor was on this album. It's a great jazz rap beat, incredible production. I loved it. Then we have track 18, Make Them Know. Now, this is the final track, and I loved the sirens that build up to the melodic chill type beat. This is again another chill type beat. I would say that all these Make Them songs, I'm going to call them Make Them songs because there are 4 of them in the album, and I do think that they are mostly chill. Of course the intro did have those beat switches, but other than that the remaining 3 are a lot more chill. Probably the most chill tracks on this album. I think it was a perfect nighttime song. I think this is definitely a song that you can, as you would call it, Drake and drive, where you listen to Drake songs and you drive. I do think that this is the perfect song for that. In my opinion, it makes you feel like you are sitting with Drake as he raps about what he's talking about in the song. That's just my opinion. I do feel like it brings you closer to Drake. It gives you that connection with Drake as he talks about his whole career. So I do feel like this beat really emphasizes his words. It makes you feel his words. And then the final part of the song where they say Iceman, freeze the world, I think that was a great outro to the album. It was a nice touch-up. So overall, what are my thoughts on this album? This was a great album. Lots of samples, lots of beat switches. I loved it. It's a luxurious experience when it comes to the beat and the production of this album. If I had to rate Iceman, I would rate it a 9.8 CDs out of 10. An ice cold 9.8 CDs out of 10. But let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of this album? What are your opinions on the tracks? Who were you most impressed by in their production for this album? What's your favorite song? And do you agree with my rating of this album? Let me know down in the comments below.